I'm Jane Montrose, and I'm here with my wonderful friend and companion for exploring all things spiritual, Gretchen Comer. We help awakening souls like you to increase your emotional and spiritual intelligence by accessing your full range of resources, which I'll explain this a little bit here. Our goal is to help you to enjoy life more, evolve and grow in magical and mystical ways, and just enjoy, really. Um, you may wonder what what that means about accessing your full range of resources. Um, if if you've wondered about it, you're not alone. We've wondered about it ourselves. When I first received that kind of guidance from Archangel Metatron a few years ago, I finally came to understand that our full range of resources includes guidance from archangels, masters, and other beings of light. And both of us have learned to use oracle cards and access the Akashic records as a sacred practice to further increase those kind of connections. Also, with nature, it is really about embracing what is really happening around us that we don't normally perceive. So, today we're focusing on embracing your magical inner child. And we'll be doing this with a magical reading using the Inner Child Tarot cards. Um, First, we'll explain what the magical inner child is. And it's definitely a magical and wondrous place to be because that's part of us. So I'm really excited. We'll also do an oracle reading for what we call the collective, which you could say is for all of us collectively who are uh, evolving and growing. And we'll visit the Akashic records to understand more about the magical child. So, Gretchen, this meaning by that I mean Gretchen and I will go into our Akashic records for the collective and receive messages. So we'll do that, and then if time allows, we may even do a brief tarot reading for an audience member or so. Which reminds me, I need to put up the chat, and I see Lula's here. Hi, Lula. Wonderful to see you. I'm glad you could join us. And we're really excited about the magical child today. So I wanted to remind everybody, if you're new here, tell us, please say hi and tell us where you're from. Whoever you are, we'd love to hear that you're here. Say hi. Feel free to comment, to ask questions. And as I mentioned, there may even be a reading or two in store for viewers this time. This is something that we haven't done that before, but we're going to experiment with it and see how that works. So one more thing before we start is we just generally take a moment to bring our energy together by breathing. It's so simple. Um, if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, you might want to do that. Just imagining as you inhale, just breathing in the most fabulous love and light from the universe. Whatever is most nurturing and joyful and wondrous to you. Love, peace, happiness, harmony, balance. And as you exhale, just imagine yourself letting go of anything heavy you don't need right now. So you feel lighter and more like you're in your body with every breath. Wonderful. Feels so good. And with that, I'd like to just turn to you, Gretchen, and ask you to start us out by sharing a little bit about your understanding of what the magical inner child is and what you feel is available for us today.
Sure. Thank you, Jane. I love this topic because it is such a powerful resource in each of us. And I would hazard to say even a bit overlooked.
Yes.
I don't think that a lot of people consciously wake up in the morning and think, I'm going to connect with my magical child. But But what it is to me is it when I tune into the magical child, I sense that it is like the untainted version of ourselves, that's not been jaded by the world, that's not been corrupted by the world, I guess you could say even.
Right.
It's the part of us that is joyous and excited and curious and wants to bring the best things into our life, because it is the one that can dream outside the boundaries of the mass consciousness.
Right.
So to me, it's a really powerful resource. And
It
I think
is.
right. Sometimes people think, well, it's a child. What is it? What is it?
Yeah,
No,
like this is just
how
a fluffy thing.
right, how wise could it be? But I've found that it's extremely wise, and it to me, it's like an aspect of my higher self too. It
Well, it
is,
really is, actually.
yeah. I mean, that's what when I tune into it, that's what I'm sensing, and it's
Mhm.
beautiful though. It's beautiful when you can be in contact with your magical child. It really opens you up to just amazing possibilities and miracles in your life. So
Right.
so I really like this topic today, and I think people will get a lot out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed Lula says, my magical child is here with me. And that's the way I focus on it too. It's like I have this child who is sitting with me and kind of nudging me, saying, let's have fun,
Mhm,
don't be so
mhm.
serious.
Right,
There's
right.
more
Yeah.
to life than you understand. And I think to me, the thing that really distinguishes it is understanding that the magical child, like we have a wounded inner child, we also have a magical inner child. And as Gretchen was saying, this is a part of us that has not become disconnected from our wholeness. So, where the wounded inner child is seeking love and guidance, the magical child in us is providing it. So, the magical child is like a guide for us and a teacher, interestingly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I see Nikki and Babs are here. Hi and welcome. So great to see you. Um, I wanted to also mention, I think one thing that makes it make more sense to people in terms of its relevance is how Jesus was quoted as saying, and this is not the verbatim quote, but the suggestion that the way to go to heaven is as a child.
Mhm.
And I think that if we look to understand what that means, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about connecting with that magic, that intuitive knowing, and the willingness just to go with it
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
children have. It's like, oh, I can play, I can imagine things, I can imagine this this life or whatever it is. It happens easily. And for us, I have to think about this.
Right. The magical child has this amazing trust, that everything's going to work out, everything's going to be as it should. There is an amazing amount of belief and faith and trust, I think, with the magical child that
Yeah.
can teach us a lot, about ourselves.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And I see Sharon's here too. Welcome, Sharon. I have a lot of people. I wasn't expecting much to be happening with Mother's Day and all, but I'm so delighted that everybody's here. It is it's one of those things also that has been tainted, you could say. Our appreciation of it, you might say, has been tainted by our perspective that we've gained from being here with the mass consciousness thought forms and everything. And that's why we want to do a reading from the magical child with a message from the magical child for the collective of us who are evolving and growing about what we need to know, something that we need to know about. So, Gretchen, do you want to go ahead with that? We can just start
Sure,
right in.
sure,
She's going
sure.
to draw a card from this really beautiful deck. This is the card that is Little Red Cap, which is the Fool in the traditional tarot, and the cards are just gorgeous. So we'll see which one our collective magical child wants us to know today. We'll call it in the inner child cards. They call it the wishing well reading. So if you're connecting deeply in your awareness and allowing something to rise up to the surface that would be of value for us to understand, that's what we're aiming for. And I'm very excited about where we might go because you never know.
Absolutely. So the card that I chose is Beauty and the Beast,
Oh,
which
I
is
love Beauty and the Beast.
which is number 8. This is
Okay.
of the major arcana.
Wonderful. And I have a second camera, so I'm going to, and this, it's interesting. When I was a child, and I would say probably still now, this has always been my favorite fairy tale. I just think it's really beautiful. So I'm going to change my camera so you can see this beautiful card. There it is, Beauty and the Beast. Do you want to share a little bit about what it says in the
Sure.
card?
Yeah, let me just hit the highlights here because these have
Yeah.
beautiful, long
Yeah,
descriptive
yeah.
stories that they tell. So this really is in alignment with the story of Beauty and the Beast. It's a classic fairy tale. Beauty lives with her father, her 2 sisters, and her 3 brothers. She's noted for her supreme kindness and sensitivity, while her sisters are often greedy. Her
Right.
family is wealthy, but her father has a boat wreck and he loses his wealth. And so Beauty ends up working in the fields, which is very humbling. And the 2 sisters, of course, want their valuable jewels and clothing to come back to them. And so all that Beauty asks for is a black rose. And the rose is the star of life in the realm of flowers. And black represents the unseen beauty within, the hidden beauty of the rose, the hidden beauty of humanity. And so she meets the Beast. They hang out at his castle. One day, in a tower of the castle, she sees a mirror, and the mirror says, "Through time, in your heart, you will see the truth." And so, after staying with the Beast for quite some time, he says that I'll die without you if she leaves to go visit her father. And so, in that moment, she rushes back to the castle and takes the Beast into her arms and says that she loves him, and her tears flow on him. And as he stirs, she sees that it's her prince. And so it's an inspirational fable that generates music in the heart. It's an age-old lesson or moral that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And in the traditional tarot, this card is called Strength and often
Right.
pictures a beautiful woman opening the mouth of a lion. So when this card appears in the reading, accept the miraculous gift of love in your life and know as truth. Not for what you can visibly see, but for what you feel and know as truth. Sorry. True love is available to us when we are opening our spirits to inner guides and dreams, and we dare to follow our hearts. Love is often disguised, as is truth. So look beyond the mask, beyond the personality world, and beyond the surface and stereotypes. Ooh, I like that. Where there is darkness, see light. Where there is pain, send healing prayers and thoughts. Where there is disharmony, sow seeds of contentment and joy. Let your warmth and magnanimity flow. That's a hard one. When you look at this, look in the soul mirror, be thankful for the beautiful gift of divine life and eternal love. So I love that it says, look beyond the mask, beyond the personality world, beyond the surface and the stereotypes. And that's what we so often talk about with, stepping away from the mass consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
it's really
Right.
beautiful.
Well, and it's interesting to me too, because there are actually 3 things that keep returning in my daily readings, or just the collective of all the readings that I do. And one of them is the magical child, and another one is genuine power and strength, connecting, accessing that, because I think power is so misunderstood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting, that if we're looking from at the view of this from the collective, what we're going to get from that with just that message. So Lula says, mine too, Jane. This is a little bit going back. This is one of her favorite fairy tales. I've always, I guess, appreciated the part about it also, that Beauty appreciated the beauty in the beast, the inner beauty. So it's just so beautiful. Anyhow, what the second part of this reading that we're kind of making up as we go along is another one of, I think for both of us, one of our favorites. It's the Four Directions reading. So we go through from east for what's dawning, south for what's expanding, the fire element. East, of course, is where the day dawns, and that's the water element, or the air element. I'm getting myself confused. And then going to the west, what's rising from the depths to be healed, that's the water element. And the north, it's the earth element, what we need to nurture and explore. That would be also related to nighttime. So it's really a beautiful reading. And I'm going to use for this a different deck of cards. And this one, I'll just set that there for a moment. It's called the Gateway Oracle. And one of the things I like about it is it has very simple messages that we can start with as we go through the four directions. So what I'm going to do it off of beyond where that picture is. I generally, I can kind of show you. What I do is I fan out the whole deck, and I think Gretchen does this too. I think the thing I like about doing that is that you can allow yourself to be drawn to the card that is the right card for whatever it is you're wanting. So for the East, we'll start with the East. And the card that we have, which is dawning, is manifesting dreams. My dreams are coming true. And I'm going to put that here on, if this was a compass, on the east side. So does that bring up any insights for you, Gretchen, in relation to the magical child?
Absolutely. I think that's exactly the magic of the magical child, is opening ourselves up to the wonder and all of the unexpected things that are coming our way. It's about being open and seeing the abundance. I love the basket of all of the vegetables tumbling out. That's to me a symbol of abundance and the harvest.
Right.
And after working, for whatever it is that we're trying to bring into our life, that's the end result, essentially.
And it's a characteristic of the magical child to dream.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think that's beautiful. So that's dawning, something to allow into your life more. And then for the South, we have what is expanding or becoming more energized. This is the fire element. Oh, that's great. Believing in magic. As if we're not getting this. True magic is abounding in my life, it says. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
It really is. It really is.
We could say more about it, but it is,
yeah.
It is pretty self-explanatory. And then, so we'll go to the West. And this is what's rising from the depths to be explored and possibly healed. Oh, this is interesting. Sharing of yourself. That's a beautiful one, too. I am an incredibly generous being. And of course, I think that's part of, to me, the magic of the magical child is that the magical child is expressive. It's happy to announce who it is, and he or she. It can be a he or she who he or she is, and to be delighted in the adventure. And I love this also. I have a hard time getting
the zebra. I love the zebra.
Yeah, she's kind of. It looks like she's in a ballerina outfit.
Right.
Riding on this zebra. Really fun.
I love that too, because that really is a reminder just to we're magnificent. You know, we need to share our beautiful gifts with the world. So we do need to share ourselves.
Right.
It's important. We all have a purpose for being here, you know, and
Mhm.
contributing. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
But I think that's part of strength and power too, is
absolutely.
being
Yeah.
able to embrace that and then show the world. Show the world what you're here to show,
Hmm.
whatever that
Mhm.
is, to express to the world. And so for the North, and this is what we might nurture in the quiet hours. This is beautiful too. Wow, this is beautiful. Communicate freely, it says.
Mm.
I communicate from the depths of my being.
Beautiful. I love the relationship of these cards to each other too, because
Yeah.
you know, we need to believe in magic and share of ourselves and communicate freely in order to manifest our dreams. And then
Mm-hmm.
leading back to the major arcana card, the Beauty and the Beast, it really is about coming from a place of love instead of judgment, and stepping away, you know, using the magical child to step away from the mass consciousness to really, you know, believe in the magic of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
you know, share
Right.
ourselves, communicate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dream.
Yeah. Dream.
All
Exactly.
those things.
The
It's so
theme
much.
of this really is dream. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think
Love that.
these images are, I think, for a magical child reading, are really magical too. So
Hmm.
beautiful.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do, I'm just trying to decide if I should leave these up when we go into the meditation, or get my camera back on me. What do you think, Gretchen? I
Oh,
don't know.
it's however you feel. Yeah.
I'd kind of like to have both, but we we don't get both, because I think the cards are really beautiful.
Hmm.
Um, I'm going to come back for the meditation. So I think I'm going to just write those down so I have them in my mind. And this is something that I generally do also with my readings, is I do map them out. So I have those keywords. So on the east we have manifesting dreams. And this is the thing about a nice deck like this, is that you have this map now that you can follow. And I think we probably will have time at the end to do a couple personal ones for people too, to go more specifically in what is here for some of you who are with us, if you are interested. I see someone here, Aurora. I think it's Aurora. So, my beloved, if you have an interested, inbox me now. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that means. Um, anyhow, sharing of yourself on the west. And then communicating freely on the north. Okay, so I have that to remind me as we do our meditation, and everybody could hopefully have that to remind you. I'll go back. So what we're going to do, I think what I'll do is we'll just do a balancing meditation, and everybody can join in. And then Gretchen and I will go into our records for the collective and ask for if there's anything else in terms of clarity for this, for us collectively. And then, like I said, we might go into some individual. So we'll see. Okay, you ready, Gretchen?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can start as we did earlier by closing our eyes and breathing in love and light from the universe. Just the most amazing light. And again, releasing with the exhale. Anything that feels heavy or dense within your field and in your body. Just imagining like there's this beautiful breeze blowing through you. Breeze of the divine. A magical breeze. we might as well do some magic. And then, as always, just asking any energy that's not your own energy you might have picked up from other people, other places, other times. Just ask it to go back lovingly where it came from so that you have your space for yourself. And with that, you might feel an expansion. Just sending everything back that is not you, because we pick up so much. And of course, that's where we get all those mass consciousness thought forms too. And then similarly, we leave bits of ourselves with other people, other times and places. Just ask any energy of your own that is ready to come back to you now, to come back into your field, into your body. You might actually feel that coming in. And then just focus for a moment on being present in the moment in your body, and notice that with those two things and just breathing in some energy, how much more present we can be. It's just so simple as a starting place. And then we can imagine breathing in lighter energy. We can invite Archangel Metatron to join us. He is one of the angels who's considered to be closest to our Creator, and also connected directly with the Akashic records, helping us in the Akashic records. So with that, we can also all imagine going up to a mystical mountaintop. And the purpose of this also is to rise up above those mass consciousness platforms to a place of freedom. And you get this beautiful view of heaven and earth. And Gretchen and I will continue into our Akashic records for the collective. And just opening, both of us opening to what the collective records for the magical child want us to know about this journey of embracing the magical child, what that is for us. And what comes to me immediately, it was like I almost could see, it was like this little child dropping into my lap. And it was interesting because it reminds me of Beauty and the Beast too, that it's so much about embracing yourself as a magical being. And it is a quality that humanity as a whole has lost because we're so bogged down by what we see with our physical eyes and feel and hear with our physical senses, that we don't know that there's so much more to us in those depths that wants to be revealed, that is waiting to be revealed. So if you feel guided, you might in your own way want to embrace that magical child in some way. Gretchen, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I immediately, as soon as I got in the Akashic records, I just asked to attune with kind of a universal essence of the magical child. And I was in a wildflower field with this little girl running and giggling, and she was stroking her hands over all the wildflowers as she ran, and she'd stumble and fall and get up giggling. And she said, when I asked her, you know, if she had a message, she said, to that these moments are fleeting. You know, every moment is fleeting, and so to enjoy it and not to bring heaviness to it. You know, we forget that we can be lighter. We don't have to be this heavy human in this incarnation, we can also choose to be lighter too. It's actually one of our multi-dimensional facets of ourself, is we have this ability to float and to fly, and to be light about things. There's no need to bring heavy energy to each moment. We can
Mhm.
transcend that. And she just keeps giggling, giggling like, you silly,
Yeah.
you can do this, you're so
Right.
silly. This is so easy. You think that it's hard, but it's actually easy. And that's about embracing a different perspective, to
Mhm.
assume
Right.
that
Right.
everything is simple, everything is easy. It's what we
Mhm.
bring to it that makes it heavy and dense energy.
Right,
So,
and difficult.
and difficult. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's
Mhm.
just beautiful. This big sunny wildflower field, and there's nothing but wildflowers as far as the eye can see. And she's just running and running and running. So it's like
Mhm.
freedom.
Right.
There's a freedom in that lightness and just going with that flow.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm.
Now, it reminds me also, realizing if we're talking about embracing emotional and spiritual intelligence, increasing our emotional and spiritual intelligence, that I was an architect years ago, and the general perspective was that if you are intelligent, you're pretty serious. That's part of it. If you would have to be pretty stupid to be happy. In other words, those happy people, they're just not very bright. They don't see what's going on here. Um, maybe not so, not as stuck as some others. Um, and so it is really a big shift for many or most of us to allow ourselves to be silly, like Gretchen was saying, to just play. And I think what you were saying about being in nature also was relevant for anyone who's participating in this meditation together, just to imagine yourself out in nature with that child, or a magical playground in nature. Um, it seems like whenever I see myself with my magical child, it is in nature. So there is that connection with it too, somehow. Do you sense that, Gretchen? That's just kind of interesting. I hadn't really
Absolutely.
exactly
Yeah,
thought of it.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
often when I meet with my magical child, I'm outdoors. I'm no longer in my library, my Akashic records. I'm usually
Hmm.
outdoors and kind of
Right.
transported to this different place. It feels like an earth dimension, but it feels like a higher dimension.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely intact. No humans have changed any of it. It's just in
Hmm.
its primal raw state. So it's beautiful and full of life and vibrancy. That's what
Right.
I feel
Hmm.
like. Lots of warm sunshine and everything's in bloom and the animals
Hmm.
are scurrying around with no fear of me, and it just feels very, very magical, like a magical earth.
Hmm. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. If you think of the fire element, um, when there's a lot of energy, it is magic.
Mm-hmm.
I think on a
Mm-hmm.
higher level, you could say at a lower level, it can be can be pain, but um, on a higher level, it is magic. Just having what is the inspiration that invites more of that fire, more of that creativity into your life. Interesting, so interesting and beautiful.
I'm feeling now something about spontaneity too. That
Yes.
really is about trusting and taking a leap into the unknown when we're
Hmm.
spontaneous, because that's really the ultimate definition of spontaneity, is to do it, in the moment. And
Right.
the
Right.
magical child lives in the present
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
When she's telling me these moments are fleeting, it doesn't mean we won't have more of them or they're running out. It just means live in that moment, live in that fleeting
Hmm.
moment. There's a lot of beauty and joy in that fleeting moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is beautiful. I love this. So it
Mm-hmm.
is so also just so energizing. I hope others are feeling that too, that it's
Mm-hmm.
we're energized when we're experiencing something that's real for us. And it is also a relief. It's simple, it's easy, it's joyful, it's magic.
Mm-hmm.
And when we can be there, just imagine what's possible for us. Beautiful. So I think, does that feel complete for now, Gretchen?
It does. I'd like to stay here forever, but that,
Right.
not practical.
Well, we're going to come back and maybe do a reading or two with
Mhm.
these cards for others. So we can all just imagine now starting to float beautifully down to where we started, wherever you're seated or resting. Imagining your feet on the floor, if that's possible. Grounding yourself to the earth. It's so important when we come back to ground. And of course, Mother Earth loves us too. And then breathing in more active energy so we can come back to our normal waking states. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. That was magical.
That was lovely. That was magical. That was
Yeah.
lovely.
Yes, it was really
Oh.
fun. So what do we have?
Mm.
We have some time here. And what I was thinking we could do is stay with our Beauty and the Beast card, stay with the Strength card. I think that's a beautiful one for all of us.
Mhm.
And then if there is anyone here who would like to have me draw the 4 directions for you.
It's such a good reading. It's such a good reading spread. I
Yeah,
love
and
it.
this is
Yeah, it's
something
one of my favorites.
It is, I think it's very profound. I always, a reading with 4 cards also has the energy of a foundation, like you're building a
Right.
foundation for something
Yeah, it feels
wonderful to happen.
right.
And
It
I
feels
see
very balanced.
Sharon is volunteering.
Yay.
Yay. So I'm going to switch my camera back and let's see what we have for her. And so these 4 cards are for supporting you, and the intention being supporting you and embracing that magical child within you. And I do start by shuffling a few times. You can kind of see. Oops, sorry. These. It actually is, it's interesting. To me, it feels like it doesn't matter as much if you're going to be kind of just spreading the cards out because you'll be drawn to the right card anyhow. But it's kind of,
exactly.
I think it moves the energy and also it brings you in harmony with your intention. And intention now is to receive 4 directions reading for Sharon's magical child. And this is the first one that I sense for, this is for what is dawning. Oh, this is beautiful. I love this card. These are such beautiful cards. The card, and you might want to write these down too, Sharon, for the left side of your rectangle. Accepting what is. I accept and embrace my inner majesty. I think that that's so beautiful. Does
There's
that?
The rose image again too.
Yeah. It is realizing, I think that what the magical child is telling us is we are magnificent. You don't have to compare yourself with anyone else. Accept yourself as you are. You don't have to be anything special for this, for your magical child to love you and embrace you. So for the South, and this is for what is expanding, the fire element. Oh, this is, ooh. Looking deeper, deep within me is a majestic radiance. And that's interesting. Inner majesty and majestic radiance. There's a theme here somewhere. So just opening to that deeper majesty within you. And I think for so many of us, we look at ourselves, am I too young? Am I too old? Am I too fat? Am I too this or too that to be magnificent? None of us are any of those things. In fact, we're perfect right where we are and who we are. So then for the West, and this is for what's rising from the depths to be healed or explored. It's weird. Radiance came up again. Reviewing your life. Radiant vitality is filling my life. And that's interesting for Sharon. Sharon has been going through some health challenges. I don't think she would mind me saying that much about it, and is recovering. So that's beautiful. Radiant vitality is filling my life. Just opening to embracing that with the support of your magical child. And to the north, for what we need to nurture in the quiet hours. Interesting. This one we already saw once. Sharing of yourself. I'm an incredibly generous being. And I wish that Sharon could speak up and tell us if any of that is meaningful to her. I hope it is. I think there's beauty in this. And these are, I think the wonderful thing about this reading is it does give us something to really focus on, something in a positive way also, something that's nurturing and positive, and with the four directions. Any other thoughts, Gretchen, on that?
Yeah, I love that we got sharing of yourself again. I think that's obviously an important message. And again, I'm just struck by the rose imagery because it did talk about the rose image or symbolism in the Beauty and the Beast card itself. And it really is a kind of a kind and generous representation of the beauty of beauty herself. You know, she's kind and sensitive and loving. And I think that's a great way to embrace accepting what is, you know, is just to come from that place of grace, essentially. A rose often means grace to me as well.
Right,
and
the white rose, especially.
The white rose, right. And
purity.
The looking deeper, are those jewels on the
Yes,
card? Gemstones
deep
or jewels?
within us is a magnificent.
Love that.
Or deep within me is a magnificent, a majestic radiance.
Beautiful. I think that's really important too, is being able to look deep within ourselves and to kind of mine those jewels that we each have, you know. And then I think that is part of how you regain some of your vitality too in the renewing your life card, you know, is to really look within and see all the beautiful things that you have accomplished in life or that you have been part of in life, to help you bring back your vitality. And then sharing of your
I'd like to just mention too, while we're
clutter.
here,
Yeah,
this big box of clutter. This fellow is just dropping it off the cliff. Like, I don't need that anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it is what is, you know, what is emerging that wants to be healed and or explored or both.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Right.
And exactly. I think that is a really relevant message from the magical child too, is let go of all that stuff.
Right.
You know,
simplify.
You try to talk about that with the magical child. It's like, oh, come on.
Right. Lighten up.
We have more important things to do than talk about your clutter.
Right. And to lighten up is more than just changing your mood. It's about physically releasing some of that dense energy that we have. It could be clutter, could be physical clutter, could be bad habits or anything, you know, in relation to our lives. So I think that's really beautiful. Yeah. And that feels like a message from the magical child. Lighten up, you know, it's easy, you know. You make it so dense, so hard. It doesn't need to be, you know. Yeah, exactly. Not that Sharon's doing that, just that, you know, I think that's a good image for all of us.
I think, good message. I think all of these things are for all of us.
I agree.
You know, the idea for her, and she says, she did say it's all relevant, is to see what that triggers, you know, in those different locations, especially.
Right.
Yeah. So is Lula still here? I can't tell. Babs had to leave. Lula, if you're still here, let us know. We could do one for you. Or we have also Nikki, if either of you are here. Oh, Lula says yes. Okay, we'll do one for you. This was fun. I like this.
Yeah, I really like
It's
this.
this is magical child land here.
I really like the Beauty and the Beast card as like the main card in this too, because I feel like it's really about balance as well. You know, they're
Mhm.
almost they're polar opposites on some level. So it's about kind of bringing those two and seeing it in a new perspective, bring those two together and seeing a new perspective. So,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
love how all the element colors are represented in these cards too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm shuffling again, just with intention now to create a reading for Lula. I'm going to spread these out again. Oops, we've got one that's turned around. I have to turn it back the other way, whatever that is. I just mix these up a little bit. Spread them all out. I love fanning. I just really enjoy doing that too, and finding what it is. It's this one right here. So this is for what's dawning for Lula. Hearing messages from spirit. I am a clear channel for messages from spirit. That goes over in what's dawning.
Beautiful.
And it is connecting with the inner child is opening to messages from spirit. So you could interpret that. Of course, it's whatever it means to Lula. But the thought that comes to me also is that there's that little loving envelope and to listen, to open to having a conversation. It's not just one thing. It can be, you can imagine yourselves playing together. You can have a conversation. You can ask for guidance from the magical child. Any other thoughts, Gretchen, on that?
I was just struck by it. To me, it looks like those things are floating or maybe gently falling, you know, with flowers and the feather. It just seems like there's some motion, you know, in
The
that,
feather definitely is
it's
floating.
you know, coming from the higher dimensions, it's all floating down, you know.
Right, hearing messages
With
from
beauty
spirit.
and grace. The flowers to me are like beauty and grace
And love.
and love. And yeah, such a pretty card.
Yeah, it is beautiful. Okay, and then for what's becoming more expansive in your life, cultivating prosperity. The abundance of the universe is pouring into my life. Cultivating prosperity. And of course, we can ask, how is it that the magical child can support that? And to me, it is like the magical child only knows prosperity. That's what I'm hearing. The magical child doesn't think about, well, you have to have 50 cents for this and, whatever. It's not about the details. It's about just being open to the divine to provide, and it's happening.
Right. You've already planted the seeds. You just have to help it grow.
There they are.
Yeah, there they are coming up out of the ground.
Yep.
Beautiful.
And then for the West, what's rising from the depths to be healed and explored. Oh, how beautiful. Following your bliss. My soul sings with joy. That's beautiful too. Of course, these are all really beautiful.
That's an interesting it's an interesting direction to get that card, because it's like if we don't follow our bliss, things can happen, you know, things that maybe aren't the best thing, but by following our bliss, all this magic can keep unfolding, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is like towards the end of the day when things are winding down, to remember to keep your focus on what's good. The good and bright things. And then from the north, for what you need to nurture, embracing the future. I step into the future with an open heart.
Mm.
Oh, it's interesting. There's like a kind of a metaphorical doorway there. I really
Mhm.
I love cards with doorways. Like you can.
I do too. Gateways and doorways. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
And how beautiful it is beyond that doorway.
Right.
Mhm. Who wouldn't
So,
want to go through it?
right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a good point. So Lula says, little treasures in the West, trust in the South, singing and expressing, being authentic in the East.
Mhm.
I think she might have, this is, I think that was the third one she mentioned. She mentioned little treasures first and then South. It doesn't matter. Singing, expressing, and being authentic. Yeah, I love, and I love, of course, there's a unicorn there. I love
Mhm. Of course.
unicorns.
More magic.
All right.
Love it.
Lots of magic.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
Yeah,
pretty.
it is beautiful. So lots of magic. I think I'll just go back to the regular view. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. We'll get there. Here we are. So I'm back. And I hope that those readings were, well, Lula said, I love all the cards. They were so perfect for me right now. Thank you so much. And that's the really the goal is to look at, well, why do I have this and why is it in this
Mhm.
position? What does that
Mhm.
mean to me? How can I embrace that and with my magical child and in my life?
Absolutely.
So it is, I think, just that idea of playing with the magical child with the cards or whatever
Mhm.
you do is really fun. And
Right. And yeah, I personally got a lot out of both both individual readings too. I mean, I know they
yeah.
were drawn for Sharon and Lula, but I felt, I had a lot of resonance with them too, and are
Hmm.
all really good reminders. I think the magical child is kind of tapping me on my shoulder today anyway. So follow that bliss, play a lot more,
Hmm.
remember how light things can be, lighten up. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And last week Philip was with me and we were talking about the month of May. And of course that
Hmm.
was right around the new moon. I guess just before the new moon. So now we're in that kind of that
Hmm.
waxing
Right.
moon energy in May. It's just
Mhm.
it's a very active spring
It
energy.
is.
So how we use our energy right now is really important.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much. And thank you all. Lula says, little Lula says thanks too. She is so
Aw.
excited.
Yay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So just in our, I guess, tradition together, we can also share the love and the light and joy that we have collected with the world now. We can, Gretchen, Gretchen was showing me before we started, she got a whole bag full of planets. Just sharing that magic. Just imagine if everyone was in that place, connected with the magic, connected with the joy, opening to expressing ourselves in wonderful ways, in ways that honored each other and honored ourselves, watching and seeing the beauty in others. I think I always felt that was so beautiful when I was a child. I noticed she has there are there are rabbits also. I've noticed
Rabbits.
in the
Yeah.
cards, that
Yeah.
rabbits are for things being prolific
Hmm.
and abundant.
There's that wise at wisdom on the shoulder, near the shoulder of the beast,
Oh yeah,
and it
an
looks like
owl and a dove
a
and
dove, I think, yeah, in the sky.
yeah,
So You've got all the
Yeah, and
elements
in Beauty,
represented.
Beauty has one in her lap too. It's a
Mhm.
white dove.
Yeah, an
And of course
expression of her
there's,
gentleness. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
beautiful. And flowers
beautiful.
next to her too. So
Hmm.
it's a
Yeah,
really vibrant,
these,
colorful card.
mhm. Yeah, and this deck of cards is very profound, I think, in uh, its symbolism and just everything about it. It all just is so much in harmony. Uh, it's it's not just fluff. I mean, to me, I think part of what we were talking about is that this isn't fluff we're talking about. This is real, real life, like how you can live vibrantly.
Mhm. Absolutely. It's wonderful guidance for today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially, it seems like right now there's so much tension in the world,
Mm,
and throughout
yeah.
our country and all around, just many, many things going on. And we can all still maintain that perspective, that creative, high vibrational perspective. So I'm glad that everybody joined us. Gretchen, would you like to tell people how they can connect with you and what's going on in your world?
Sure, sure. So people can connect with me at spiraljourney.net. That's my website. And you connect with me here on Facebook, Gretchen Comer, or you can go to Spiral Journey Holistic Life Services. That's my page. And I'm going to put a couple of I'll put a couple of links. I also do oracle readings, so I'll put a
Right.
couple of links in the comments after we're done here, and people can click on that. It's too long of a link to say verbally.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah. That's
so
why I use
anyway,
the tiny
yeah,
URLs.
right,
Yeah.
right. But
Right.
thank you. Yeah, thank you, Jane.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is, I think, in a personal session with a reading like this, you can take it even deeper, going
Mhm.
into each of those elements and having that
Right.
discussion. That it's really profound. I do these myself, 4 directions for different seasons, for different purposes. Like if I'm teaching a class for, well, what is the focus of the class? And you get the 4 directions. It's very amazing. And just for yourself personally, at this time of year when we're opening so much to the active part of the year, what does that hold for you? What will support you in being more of who you are? So,
Right.
yeah. So for Awakenings Institute, that's the institute that Philip, my husband, and I we co-direct, and it's all about creating a more loving world. Speaking, which is why we're, I think, on the bottom line, that's why we're here, is to create a more loving world. And we have, let me see, I have a link here somewhere. We have an Akashic Records course that's starting this week. And you can find out about that at tinyurl.com/intro-akashic. So that's tinyurl.com/intro-akashic. And I think you could, if you want, Gretchen, also copy your link. Oh, you don't have links. If you had a link, you could copy that I'm going to copy that into the chat. And we have personal sessions and readings at tinyurl.com/spiritual session. I think I'll put that there too. Okay, and you could, I don't know if you want to write anything in the chat, Gretchen. I guess
I'll just put it in the comments. Yeah,
yeah,
I'll just put it in
yeah,
the comments.
yeah. Okay, wonderful. And ways you can support Soul Awakenings for all of us collectively is you can follow our page on Facebook. You can share the video on Facebook with your friends, which is really helpful for them and for the collective. And you can invite friends to join you. We're here every Sunday at this time, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. And our format going forward is going to be much like today. Also, if you have any comments that you want to put in about, for those, I know that the people who were here today mostly are people who have been with us quite frequently. And if you want to tell us any suggestions, tell us what you like, what you didn't like, what you'd like more of in this kind of thing for opening to your emotional and spiritual intelligence. We always appreciate your support and your insights. So thank you everyone for joining us. The last thing we usually do, we might as well do, send love and light and joy and magic, lots of sparkles and everything out for the week ahead. And remember your magical child. This, I mentioned just very briefly that this is something that has been really in my guidance. My guidance keeps saying, connect with your magical child, connect with your magical child. Must be happening for a reason. So I'm doing it and really feeling the joy. So I hope you are too. And wishing you, of course, a most blessed, wonderful week. See you next time, hopefully.
Bye.